Welcome to the Alien Portal podcast, where we ask the questions to the most out of this world topic, explore the world of ufology and ancient historical evidence of aliens. Come along for the ride while we learn of the existence of and coexistence with beings out of this world. Thank you for joining us today. I am Cris, your host. Today I have with me B. Would you like to say
Hello.
a few words?
Yes. Hello and welcome. I'm glad you could join us this time. We really appreciate your listening and we hope you enjoy what we have to say.
Yes, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yes, if you celebrate that. If not, happy coming up Thursday.
Today we'll be discussing the Robertson Panel of 1953.
Ooh.
So, what do we already know about the Robertson Panel, V?
That it's made up of scientists, politicians, and that they were the ones that decided that aliens weren't a threat. So they no longer needed to fund some of the programs like Project Blue Book and things like that. They're like, oh, no, it's okay. We're fine. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Well, the Robertson Panel was created in January of 1953,
Okay.
and it was headed by Howard P. Robertson. And Howard P. Robertson was an American mathematician and physicist known for contributions related to physical cosmology and the uncertainty principle. I don't know what physical cosmology is or the uncertainty principle. And
Physical cosmology.
physical cosmology.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the basically proving the physical presence of cosmos.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Let me look it up. I'll look it up.
And the uncertainty principle. And he was a
That
professor
one is just like whether or not, something is uncertain.
of. Yeah. He was a professor of mathematical physics at the California Institute of Technology in Princeton University. And physics, I understand, but I don't understand some of the other terms. And the Robertson panel was recommended by the Intelligence Advisory Committee,
Hmm.
which extended from a CIA review of Project Blue Book and its investigation into UFOs. So, what do we know about Project Blue Book and their investigation?
Well, that our homeboy was part of it. He uh, he was the one who was sitting there trying to disprove uh, the existence of aliens, or at least being skeptical about it, being like, "Show me the evidence." It was run by the Air Force, so it was a branch of the government. It was a government-funded program. Um, and that's what I can remember for now.
Yes, Dr. J. Allen Hynek was part of it, and Ruppelt, um, Edward Ruppelt, was the director of the of Project Blue Book. And yes, they were trying to disprove the alien phenomenon, the flying saucer phenomenon specifically, because they didn't believe in the idea of aliens, so they were skeptical.
Hmm.
And they wrote many reports, but some of them were really unexplainable. So
Right.
the advisory committee extended from a CIA review of the Project Blue Book. So that CIA report included widespread UFO sightings from all over the country and two consecutive weekends of the July 1952 sightings over Washington, D.C. So we already spoke about the flyover of over the skies of Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
And
everybody all of a sudden saw these bright lights over a period of 2 days and was like, what is that?
yeah, yeah, that was very interesting. A period of 2 weeks, 2 consecutive weekends.
Hmm.
So, and it's funny that it happened on the weekends. It didn't happen during the
During this
week.
week when everybody's busy.
Mm-hmm. It happened in the weekends when everybody, or maybe people, it happened during the week and people didn't notice because they were too busy.
That's true.
Yeah.
They finally got a break on the weekend. Be like, oh, honey, look outside. It's a friendly neighborhood aliens.
Well, nowadays we wouldn't ever look up at the sky because we look down at our phones all the time.
True, true that.
Yeah. Our phones have taken over and we wouldn't even notice unless one of the aliens taps us on our shoulders and tells us, "Hey, what the hell? You haven't looked up at the sky for a while."
Maybe that's why most people didn't notice it, like, or not more people noticed it because they were too busy inside watching television. You know, our phones have become the new TV,
Yeah, that's true
our
too.
outlet to the world.
Yeah. Well, so what's the big deal with the Robertson panel and all of this? Why do we want to talk about it?
Because they're the ones that decided that aliens were not a threat and that we're safe.
Mm-hmm.
And also, too, they, excuse me, produced a report stating such.
Yes, correct. And well, according to the CIA, there were two primary concerns for to create this report. And possible is psychological warfare on Americans by Russia and
Mhm.
the overloading of air defense systems. So, yeah. And the Robertson Panel's report concluded that UFOs were not a direct threat to national security, but could pose an indirect threat by overwhelming standard military communications due to public interest in the subject. In other words, they believed that most of the sightings were unexplainable natural phenomena, and that the primary threat is the public tying up the phone lines.
Really? Oh, okay. I get it. So when there's an emergency, guys, don't tie up the phone lines. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm sorry. What do we do when we see something? 911.
Yeah, and a small bit of the report, but very important to note, they recommended the government to keep an eye on UFO groups in the community. So what's up?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, because the people that were studying the UFOs are like, they're the ones that the world should watch out for. Not the UFOs themselves, but the people who, were like, hey, this is odd.
Yeah, and it's not a conspiracy theory. That's exactly what's recommended in the report. And I was hoping that the reasoning behind this is due to reduced panic and mass hysteria, but because, sh- but because this sure could be a way to silence opposing views that could result in revealing the truth that either we're being visited or that the government has black covert mission from the military industrial complex.
Hmm.
So either our government is hiding something big
Oh,
or we're really being visited by aliens.
aliens. One of the two.
Yeah. And as a result of the panel's decision, Project Blue Book was reduced in size. We already talked about that. They went from having a personnel of 10 to 3.
Jeez.
We can only imagine how much that angered the director Edward Ruppelt and his scientist Alan Hynek.
Well, here are these men who are dedicating their lives to trying to disprove, this thing, and then the government's like, oh, yep, cut your money. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Everything's fine. There's nothing to see here, y'all. Move along, move along.
Yeah. Tell you what. It's a small percentage of sightings that could not be explained that the CIA took
Mm-hmm.
interest in. This lets you
Mm-hmm.
know that there is truly something going on out here, something that can't be explained by a planet, star, or plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that does it for us today at the 18 Portal podcast. I would love to hear your opinion on the subject, so feel free to leave a comment. Remember to follow us for more content. Thank you, my friends. And do you have any ending remarks, B?
Nope, just thank you for visiting us. We appreciate you listening.
And happy Thanksgiving to those who actually celebrate it. And
Mm-hmm.
for to those, like B said, what you say again, B? Happy
Happy Thursday.
Thursday.